Right, good afternoon everyone. It's great to have you all here. This afternoon we're going to deal with customizing AuditMate for your practice. And the goal of customizing it is really it's twofold. There's the internal documentation that you're creating in your own audit files and working papers that you can brand with your own logo. It's a nice thing to have. It's nice for the staff to see your logo in various places, and it just reinforces that professionalism in the firm, I think. And then the other part of customizing is what your clients are going to see at the end of the day. So that's in your financial statements. We'll look at putting in your logos and in your engagement letters, all the documentation that goes to your client that they sign. And so we've got a little bit of an outline that I sent through on an email to you all. I'm just waiting for the screen to update, and it seems to be taking a very long time. There we go. Right, so this afternoon we're going to go through these points on the left. We're going to look at creating your own master templates. Obviously, we provide a set of templates, but they're very generic, and there's nothing personalized about them at all. So we're going to look at how you can take those templates and customize them easily for yourselves. We're going to look at, as I said, putting your own logo on and images into your working papers. Then we look at the letterheads, different ways to get your letterheads into the various Excel and Word documents. Then we're going to take a look at tailoring audit steps and checklists. So this is going to be specific audit procedures that you want to have in your files. Then we're going to take a little bit further, take that idea a bit further and create a library of checklists and audit steps that you can then incorporate into any client engagement. And then towards the end of the session, we'll look at the AFS, see what we can do in terms of styling it for yourselves. And then I just got a couple of interesting Excel features to share with you. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I think I made the mistake of trying to put too much information out there in the short time that we had together. So today we're going to take it a little bit slower, and I'm going to expect questions and answer those questions as we go through. So I think good idea to just pop the questions into the question box as we're going along. Right, so let's make a start with AuditMate. Now, I'm actually using a newer version of AuditMate, which I tweaked especially for this presentation, and it's not even on the updater yet. But hopefully it will get there tonight. And what I've done is I put a logo in the bottom right hand corner. Right, our first item we want to look at this afternoon is creating your own master templates. Now there are two ways that we can go about doing this. There's the very quick way, and we could use Windows Explorer to do that, and or we could, and in doing that we would probably create all the master templates at once, or we can do it the slower way using AuditMate and create one at a time. So I'll show you briefly. Let's have a first look if we used Windows Explorer. Just waiting for your screen to come up. Okay, now Windows Explorer, you obviously have the full power of Windows at your fingertips, which for some people is rather dangerous. But let's try and just take it one step at a time. If we go into our local drive, on our C drive, and the AuditMate 5 folder is the usual place that AuditMate would be installed. So we can go into that folder, and we'll see that we have a clients folder and we have a templates folder. Now, not surprisingly, inside the templates folder we have all the templates that we supply. Okay, mine will have more in it than yours has, and it is a good idea to periodically clean this up. You'll notice we used to use the prefix 2013, and before that we didn't have any prefixes, and now we're using 2014. So 2014 are the latest set of templates, and we will be releasing some new 2015 ones in the next couple of months, but the 2014 ones are the latest set of templates, and they're all located within this templates folder. Now, if we wanted to quickly create a whole set of new masters, what we would do is we'd go to our AuditMate 5 folder. On templates, we can right click and choose copy, and then anywhere, if we right click again and choose paste, it's going to create a copy of that entire templates folder. So that's what it's doing right now. And it's called templates copy, or if you have a different version of Windows, it may be called copy templates. Now I'd like to just rename that. So the way I can do that is I can choose right click and choose rename, and I'm going to call it masters. So what I've done now is I've created a masters folder, and inside it I've got all the templates. Now that's an exact copy of all the templates that are in the templates folder. But the idea behind creating our own masters is that we now customize these masters and use them to create any new clients going forward. Obviously, when we make changes and create new templates, those all get updated into the templates folder, and your masters folder stays intact, just exactly as you have created it. Okay, so that's one way to create a masters folder with a whole lot of templates in it. The other way, of course, is to use AuditMate. And what we would do there is we would create a new client. So we would click on this new client. Now, the normal place that clients are created is in this default folder, which is a clients folder. But we wouldn't want to create a master in that folder. So we click on the little yellow icon, and we'll go and now choose the masters folder. Okay, obviously if that masters folder wasn't there, then we could click on this button that says make a new folder. Well, let's do that. Okay, let's just click AuditMate 5 and let's make a new folder called masters 1. Okay, and we'll click on OK. So now our folder that it's going to create this new client under, or this new master template, is under masters 1. So let's give it a name. Let's call it 2014 My Master CC CC Act. Okay, we don't have that much space, so we'll just call it, we'll just shorten that, CC Act, and click OK. Okay, that's going to create a new folder straight underneath the masters. And we would, because we're working with the CC Act one, we would choose this CC Act, go next, all those files get copied across, and we're now working in a new master template under masters 1. Okay, let's just cancel at this point and see what we've done if we go to Windows Explorer and just compare, okay, remember there's our masters template that we created, a folder we created earlier with all those templates in, and there's the new masters one. It's just got the one that we created. Okay, so we're just going to work in this one to start off with. Now I just chose the CC one because that applies to AuditMate and to AccountsMate, but it's the same principle all the way through. I haven't seen any questions yet, so I presume that everyone's comfortable with that. Someone does have their hand up. Does that mean you want to say something? I'll put your hand down. Put it up again if you want to actually speak. Oh, you do. Okay, I'll unmute you. Okay, Melissa, you want to tell us something? Hello? Melissa, I have unmuted you, so if you speak into your mic, you should be able to talk to us. Okay, I think you're going to just get a little bit closer to the mic. Hi.
It was a mistake.
Oh, okay. No trouble. Well, I'm glad it works anyway. Are you sure you don't have any questions?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. I will mute you again for now. All right. At least we know the GoToWebinar does work. Right. Okay, so no questions have popped up in the question box at this stage. So obviously everyone's very comfortable with that. You do it every time you create a new client. No trouble at all. Right, I'm just looking at my notes. All right, so we've dealt with just creating the folder. Now, the idea behind that folder is that we use that as our new templates when we create new clients going forward. But let's look at the sort of changes that we can now make. All right, let's look at applying our own logo images to the AuditMate working papers. Okay, that's a nice, easy thing to do. You'd be surprised how easy this is. Okay, let's just close this client down. And okay, down in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got an AuditMate image. And at the present, that image will also appear in all the working papers. So if I open up a client here, we just go to one of the working papers that we've got. Oops. Okay, it will appear on your screen shortly. But in the bottom left-hand corner of every working paper, we print a logo. Now, you've been able to change this for some time, but it's a very simple thing to change. If we minimize this, go back to our launcher, and if we click on the Admin tab, we have a button here that says Logos. And that shows the same image. Now, if you want your own logo, click on the little yellow folder, go choose an image. Now, you'll notice the size of this image. It says here, dimensions, 400 by 200. If it's 400 by 200, that's fine. If it's 200 by 100, that's fine. It will be resized. The proportions need to be in those same proportions, or else it will resize and look very squashed up. But any JPEG image will do. So if I double click there, that's the image that will now appear. I'll click OK. Okay, I do have to close it down and start it again, unfortunately. But when it starts up, it will have the image in the bottom right hand corner. And if I open up that client, and okay, let's just go, we'll see, obviously in this PDF printed one, it's going to have the image I had before unless I reprint it. So I will click on the left hand side here, ePrint. and we should then reprint that. It will appear, and now we've got our other image or logo in the bottom left hand corner. So you could just need to get your image, get it from your letterhead, from your website, wherever, and just apply it to these documents, and then that's going to happen all the way through. So all the internal documents that are created by AuditMate. I'm going to just change the order of doing things here, and let's just jump to the annual financial statements, because quite often I've seen guys put their same logo or image on their financial statements. How do we do that? Okay, let's open up the financials. And of course, we're just dealing with Excel. So this is normal Excel functionality that I'm showing you. And really, you can do whatever you want in Excel. So I've seen a lot of people, they just put it in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, of the title page. Just going to make this a bit bigger. And let's say we wanted our image down there in the bottom left-hand corner. We just go to Excel Insert, a picture. Okay, where's that picture? Go find it on our hard drive, wherever it might be. That logo I used just now was here. And it comes out, and it looks rather huge, right? Not so great, but not a problem. Just using, okay, when you resize an image, there are three ways you can do it. You can go the top and the bottom, okay, but that's obviously squashing it up, not very nice. Okay, Control Z will undo that. You can do it from the side, also doesn't really work, so Control Z. But if you click on the corner, you get the little diagonal arrows, and when you resize that, it keeps the proportions the same, and then you can move it to wherever you want. Okay, but to move it, you just get the four arrows and then hold with the left mouse click and drag it to wherever you want it. Okay, if I do a preview on this, there it is. Okay, it's not quite in the right place. So I'll exit the preview. Need to maybe add a few more lines here. Drag it down. Say that's where I want it. Let's preview that again. I'm pressing Control P, by the way. And that's happier. Right, so that's how I can put my logo onto my cover sheet. I can put it anywhere. I can put it. I could put it on every page if I wanted to. There are numerous ways of doing this, and you're just using normal Excel functionality to do that. Right, I have two questions. Clinton wants to know, is it just me or is there no sound? I think the sound is good. Certainly it looks good from my side. The microphone indicator is working and no one else has said anything. So Clinton, I think it must just be on your side. And another question here, do you have to do that for every client you create? Well, this is the whole point. You do this in the file that is your master file. So what are we working in right now? We're working in, working in a demo audit client. But yes, we would do this in the master files, and that way, whenever we create a new client and we copy in from the master, we're bringing in these financial statements which have all these images in, which have our letterheads in, which have any formatting changes that we make. So we're doing this in the master. All right, Tony says it sounds fine. Right. Okay, adding that image is exactly the same as putting in a letterhead in the audit report, because we'll just find an image of the letterhead and put it into the audit report. Now I'll show you how to do that, because there are a couple of ways. Okay, let's just close down our Excel financials here and save them. All right, I created my own letterhead in Word, as most of you have as well. So there's my letterhead in a Word document. And I could add an image to the Word document as well if I needed one. If I want the Psycha logo or something like that, I can put that image in there. But I have created a letterhead in Word. Now, if I want to get that letterhead into my Excel documents, I could retype it, and I could play around with the with this fonts and the font sizes and the spacing, but it would be very difficult to get it to be exactly the same. And we really want the letterhead to be exactly the same on every document that we put out there. So let's just have one master letterhead that we use. And then let's take an image of that and put that image into every other Word document and Excel document. Right, how do I capture this image? Okay, there are a couple of ways, and I use a little program called Snagit. Now Snagit is a screen capture program, and I use it because when I'm replying to people's support emails, I often take captures of the screen to show them what they should do, what steps they should follow in that to deal with the problem. But you don't, and Snagit does cost money, I don't know, $20 or something. But it's a great little utility, and one of the other benefits of it is that you can print to Snagit. You can create PDF files that way. You can print and create image files. So that's one way that we could do this, and I'll show you. I'll press Control P here, which is print. I would choose Snagit from my list here, Snagit 10. There are a few settings that I can change so that I can get a high quality image. I only need a black and white image in this case, but I can get a 600 image. Say OK. OK again, and now print it. And that now prints to Snagit. And Snagit has opened up on another screen, so I'll just drag it across. And make it a little bit smaller so we can see. Right, so that created an image file which I can now play with and use. So in Snagit here, I would take this area, would block that out, crop it, and then trim it. All right, and then I would save that. Okay, save as, and I would choose. I can choose various formats. JPEG is a good format to use, and we will put that and I'm just going to call it snag it letterhead. Okay, so that I created with Snagit. Okay, you don't want to buy Snagit? That's fine. There are other ways to do this. And you could buy some free things as well. But a really neat way of doing this is to go into we're in Word, okay? We've got the Word document in front of us. And we don't want to capture this image on the screen because we've got a spelling gremlin here, okay? And it's underlined in red. We wouldn't want that to appear on our letterheads. So we go into print preview mode, Control P, and we make this a bit bigger so that we're getting a nice big image on the screen. Now, we'll just leave that in the background. We'll go back to our AuditMate that we're working on. Let's open up these financial statements. So we've got about 6 programs open at once here. Not a problem. And we're back in our financials, and I want to put a letterhead image into the auditor's report. Okay, I think I'm going to need a bit more space. So I'm going to add a few more rows. I'll block those, choose insert, let's add some more rows. And now I want to put the image in. So if I click on insert, now I could choose picture and get my letterhead that I saved earlier. Okay, I didn't save it there. I saved it in here. That's Snagit letterhead. Okay, and I can pull that in, resize it to the size that I want, drag it down a little bit, just position it where I want it. Okay, so that's one way. So I'm bringing in that image file. Okay, I don't want to do it that way, so I'm just going to delete that. I want to show you the different way. So I'm going to go insert. Now remember, I've got Word open, previewing a screen. Now if I click on the little down arrow here on screenshot, it shows me all the other pages that are open. If I can click on screen clipping, let's try this. And it's gone to the wrong screen. So let's try going to that one. No. Okay, I've got so many screens open that it didn't like that. Let's go Word. Let's open Excel again. Let's try that again. Aha. Okay, and now it's come to Word, and I can use this little tool to block. I'm just holding down the left mouse click to block the image that I want. That's it. Release, and it comes straight into Excel. Now I can resize it and move it to where I want. Okay, so I don't need to buy any other tools to do that. I can just use normal Word and Excel. Right, I've got a couple of questions here. Right, let's just have a look. Does this mean that every time there's an update we need to repeat the customizing? Yes and no. Okay, yes in the past, but no going forward, because we're going to change the way we do this going forward so that we don't have to repeat this exercise all the way through. Ken says, is there then a quick way to do this if we do have to make those changes every time? And yes, there is, in that you can use copy and paste. So if we put out a new set of templates and there were so many changes, let's say there were so many changes in those templates that really the best thing to do is to use those new templates and then recustomize it for yourself. Then you can just use copy paste from your old set of templates. So you can literally take this image, go Control C and go into your into the new set of templates and paste it in there. Okay, there's a bunch of letterheads. Well, there's not even that many. Okay, on this document, there's a few. So we could, like on the CA declaration, okay, we need something up there. So we would there insert some lines, and we would go to the audit report again, grab that image. So just click on it. We can right click, copy. Go to the CA declaration and paste. Looks like we need to just resize that. Wow. Okay, that didn't work nicely. Let's try that again. Let's go there, Control V. What options have we got? Oh, as a picture, that's better. Right, adjust it. And we're done. Go to the next page, Control V, adjust it. Okay, and there were 3 items there, and there might be a reviewer's report as well. So then we could do it on the reviewer's report. But really, copy and paste is your friend. And you can copy paste, which is Control C for copy, Control V for paste. I'm surprised how many people don't know those shortcuts, but with Windows that's a standard, and you just use that all the time. Okay, so that's how we can get our image of our letterhead into our Excel documents. Okay, into our Word documents. How would we do that? Well, let's go to our Word document. Let's go to this compiler's report. Let's open that Word document. Right, and we need a letterhead in here. Okay, if we double click anywhere at the top, we're going to get to the header. And we want that image. So we go to Insert, Picture, and we go grab the document, the image that we saved earlier, resize it, and we're good to go. Could also have just done a copy paste even from that Excel document. Okay, let's just have a look at that. Let's remove this and let's go to our Excel document. Okay, select the image, right click, copy, go to our Word document, right click, and paste the picture. There it is. Resize it. Okay, it's really simple stuff, but a lot of people aren't familiar with it. That's why I'm going through it slowly, so that we can get these things in there, customize the templates. You don't have to do this every time. You'll do it in your masters, copy those masters across when you create a new client and you've got these letterheads in there. Okay, let's save that document. And let's get that out of here. All right, and we'll save the Excel file too. Okay, if you want to get a list of your Excel and Word documents quickly, instead of going through the index here, you can also go to the audit review, go to Documents, and there you can see all the Excel and the Word docs. And if you click on them, you can open them up. Double click. Okay, if I could just do Control V because that image was still in what's called the clipboard, and it stays there. After doing a Control P, the image, a Control V, no, after doing a Control C, that's a copy, it stays in the clipboard, and then you can paste it wherever you go. So you can come into these documents, make your changes, take that out, save it, open up the next Word document. Okay, that was the one that we did. Open up another Word document, make that change. Oh, sorry, this is from Psycha, so it's not a document that we would use. Engagement letter. There we go. Open up the engagement letter. Double click to get the header. Control V, and we've put the letterhead in straight away. Actually, once you get the hang of it, it's surprising how quickly it goes. And a lot of these documents are not documents that go to the client anyway. All right, let's just look, see if there's any other questions. Okay, right, just let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so we've dealt with those image files. Anyone got any questions on that? Want to say anything? Anyone want to speak? And raise your hand. And okay, Melissa, your hand's up again. Do you want to speak? No. Okay, sorry, there's one more question. Okay, Vaneshri wants to know, do you need to do this on individual PCs? Ideally not. Okay, ideally in an office environment where you've got multiple users using the same files, you want to have the masters created by one person and put in one place, say on your network. And that should then be where everyone draws from when they create a new client. They should be going to the masters that's located on the network so that everyone is has the same starting point. If you've got everyone doing the customizing, there's a lot of wasted time there. And it's really nice if in a situation where you've got 10, 15 users, whatever, in your office, it's really nice if you have one person who's kind of the AuditMate champion, who can do all this kind of customizing and even tailoring of the audit programs like we're going to go into just now. It can add some real efficiencies to the whole practice. And that person also becomes a good reference source for new trainees that come in. They go to that champion and they get skilled up there. That champion will be the one that communicates with me when there's other problems. I know a lot of you do this already in your offices, but that works really well. It's a good knowledge transfer mechanism. Right, let's look at tailoring the audit steps. Right, let's close this one down. And okay, what do we, there's a couple of scenarios here. One scenario is that in your office you might have a certain type of client, or you might have a group of clients who need similar changes to the audit steps. There might be specific things about that client, that a particular way that, say, they run their payment system. And when you audit that payment system, you want to apply those same audit steps to all those clients in that group. So one doesn't want to have to recreate those audit steps for every single one of those clients in the group. You just want to do it once and then kind of copy it across to the others. So let's first deal with how we go about changing the audit steps. We obviously produce a generic set of audit steps. And I often get the question, why are the audit steps duplicated? Well, we might have some testing under sales and some testing under debtors, and they're the same audit steps. They say, well, why are those steps duplicated? Well, they're there because some people want to do those tests under sales and some people want to do it under debtors, and that's their choice. You certainly don't do it under both. You choose, when you're in the planning stage and you're doing the audit strategy, you choose where you're going to do those audit tests. Certainly don't do it under both sections. But we make a generic set of templates available which is comprehensive and covers all those things. Right, but that said, there might be extra audit steps that you want. So let's open up this, this particular audit client, and let's go to some audit programs. And just as an example, let's do cash and bank. I think this is a audit program which needs an update because it refers to checks and things like that, which I think a lot of people don't use anymore. So you might want to change a particular audit step. So let's look here, and oh, so I haven't really thought about which one we're going to change. But let's say we want to add a new audit step. Okay, if we wanted to change it, well, we could just double click on it. You probably all know this, and you can go there and you can change it. All right, that's very very straightforward. If you want to add a new audit step, well, then you can go and you click on Insert, and you just need to give it a reference. Oh, you need to give it a line number. So if we want to put it at the end, we would put it as line 15, but let's put it as line 8, the same as another line number. Okay, we will learn something now. And we say what it is that we want it to do. Okay, and we click OK. Okay, sorry, it needs a reference, so that's L101. And that will come in as line 8. Right, obviously we don't want two line 8s, so there's a button on the left hand side here that says renumber. Let's try renumbering and see what happens. Okay, and it became line 10, line 9, and all the other numbers increased thereafter. So that was quite cool. We added an audit step, but you'll notice that this audit step looks different to the others in that there's no green tick there, and we don't have the objective. Okay, to add the objective, double click, and let's go put in the objective, whatever it is. Okay, but how do we get the green tick? Okay, that green tick, that indicates that this audit step has been linked to an audit assertion. And the audit, like on line 8, the audit assertion that this one is linked to is A, accuracy. Okay, so this one we need to get this one linked up. How do we do that? It's a little more tricky. You go to this button that says risks and you click on risks. Then you have to go to the section that we're dealing with, which was L. Click on the plus and open that up. And this links through assertions. So we know it was an accuracy one, so we'll click on there. We choose accuracy and we click on insert. Okay, that's showing, and then we go and we find that particular step, double click on it, choose OK, and it's done. If I press escape, we should get back here and we should see our audit step added in there. Alright, so that's how we link it up to the risks. Looks like I need to refresh this, so if we just choose a different audit step and then come back here, there we are, then step number 9 is now all been updated. Okay, so that's how we would add a new audit step. Now let's assume that we added a whole lot of audit steps, maybe a whole audit program. Okay, how would we add a new audit program? Okay, let's have a look at that. Let's close that down. And we're dealing with programs. So we click on the little drop down and we go to program names. I'm just waiting for the screen to update. Wow, the internet is running really slowly this afternoon. Okay, I'll click on names, and this is a list of audit programs. Now let's say we had a new, let's have a new inventory audit program. If we click on insert, and we'll call this one I002, press the tab key and it moves across, and we'll call this inventory on consignment. Okay, so that's now created a new main program. Obviously it doesn't have any audit steps in it. Okay, let's go to click on programs and now choose that one from the list. It doesn't have any audit steps, but we choose insert and we start adding our audit steps. So it's I002 and we'll start with line number 1 and we can add some audit steps. I've got another document here somewhere. Just give me a second. Just opening it on another screen. Sorry, this one I've got is a checklist, so we'll deal with the checklist just now. Okay, but here's our audit steps. We can put in our audit steps, okay, and we're adding audit steps. Let's just do another one, just because we're going to copy these across just now as well. Okay, so we added 2 new audit steps on the inventory on consignment. And if we go back to our cash and bank equivalents, we added that step 9 over there. So those are new audit steps that apply to this client, which is, say, part of a group of companies. Now, how do we get those audit steps into the other companies for those groups of companies? Okay, it's very easy. Let's close this one down. Let's let's create a new one. Let's create a new client. And this is, so it's group company 2. All right, we would use our normal template, which we would, instead of taking from templates, okay, this time we would go and take it from masters. Just because, let's assume that we've created a whole lot of masters already. And we got the audit one here. Okay, copy all that across. Okay, and we've now got our group company. So it's called group company 2. All right. Now in group company 2, we have our normal audit programs. So if we look at L, we don't have that new audit program. Okay, that's only in that company that we created it in just now. How do we get it in here? Glad you asked. Okay, on the Home tab, we have this group called Copy Selected. And we have program steps, checklists, and leads. Let's go to the program steps. Let's have a look under L. Cash and bank. Run down. Okay, we don't have that step. Okay, confirmed. This is the same set of audit steps we're looking at just now. But if we want to copy these in from the one that we changed earlier, we'll go and find that one. Okay, now that was a client. I think it was this one. And if we have a look under L, and we look down, there's that audit step we wanted. Okay, so we're going to take it from the source on the left, on the right, and move it across into our audit programs on the left. And the way I do it is I just right click on that audit step and choose copy program step. And if I look down here now, we've got 2 step 9s, okay, with our new one. Okay, we're probably going to just need to go, well, we'll need to go and renumber them on the other side. So we can do that just now. Also on here we had, remember I002, there's those 2 steps. On here we don't have I. We don't have I002. Okay, so we're going to want to copy them all across. So we right click and we choose copy all. Say yes. And then go have a look, I002, and they've copied across. Cool. Okay, let's go renumber that. Let's go to programs. We want to go to L. There's 2 number 9s. Click on renumber. Going to run through, renumbered them. There you go. Now it's number 10. Okay, so that's taking from one company that we've modified, say within a group of companies, and copying those programs across selectively into another company. We can do exactly the same thing with checklists. Okay. So let's close this company down. Let's go back to the one that we were modifying. And if we go to our checklists, we can do just the same thing. Let's take any checklist. But we could, it's exactly the same process. So I'm not going to take you through it. But you can go in, modify, add new lines, new questions. And when you open up the other company, you can again go there, and instead of copying program steps, you do copy checklists, you choose a source, and you can copy across just exactly the same as with the program steps. I see we're already at 4 o'clock. Okay, now I want to take this one step further. And if we want to create a library of specific audit steps and checklists that we use in our firm, we can do that. And I've just created a new client called library. Okay. No, let's just go back a step, sorry. Let's do this from scratch. Let's go a new client called my library. Okay, and I'm not even going to copy in a template. Okay, I'm going to have nothing in the index, because all I want this library to contain is those audit steps, audit programs, checklists that are special. They're special, and we create a collection, okay, a library, a collection of these things. And I'm going to have a look at a checklist as an example here, because someone sent me a checklist that they wanted. And so we can go in here, we'll go to checklist names, and we will insert a new one. And this is a inventory count, so it would be I003, say. Okay, so that's now created that section. If we go to and we choose I003, okay, we've got nothing in here. So we want to insert some lines. So let's go insert our first line, I003, line 1, and I've got this on a document next to me. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste from another document. All right. And I'm going to create another line. Line 2. I'm going to take some other text here. Right, I'm actually just copying this from an Excel document that somebody else produced. Okay, but you can do this, and in this way we're creating now a library. We might have a bunch of other checklists. We might have a bunch of audit programs. And this all now is in my library. And what I can do with that, of course, is any client, any other client that I open up. So let's say this one. And I say, okay, I need those audit steps or that checklist on the inventory count. I need to include that in this file. So I'll go to my checklists. I'll go to the source, will be my library. Okay. And a couple of things have come through. Sorry, wrong one. The wrong library. Should have gone to my library. Okay, just try that again. My library. Okay, and there's my inventory count ones. I don't have them on the other side, so I can just right click, copy all. And now if I look at sorry, gone too quick here. This is a change I made this week. There it is, I003. There's my 2 items that I copied in from the library. So I could selectively choose, if I've got something specific, say to VAT controls, or to purchases cycle or whatever. If I have this library of audit steps, then I can bring them into my existing client files. Now what I want to do going forward with our AuditMate templates, because I'm going to be going through the audit steps and making changes, is all the changes that I make, I'm going to build those changes into a library file. So that if you've got an existing client that you've used the old templates on, and you want to be efficient and you want to roll it forward into the next year, then you could just grab the new updated audit steps and checklists from the library file. So I think that's going to help us to be more efficient for everybody. Okay, completely gone over the time now. Let's just go back to my PowerPoint and see. Okay, still haven't dealt with the formatting and the styles on the AFS. All right, I can see from the comments here that we're having a few issues with the internet and in terms of the speed of the updating of the screen. That's unfortunately beyond my control, but hopefully on the recording is done from my side and not from your side. So the recording should be better, and we'll see when that comes out. Right. In terms of our financial statements, okay, there are just a couple of things I wanted to, because we're talking customization. So what we produce for you is a set of financials within a certain style, right? And I think a year or 2 years ago, we updated our style to have a bigger font in the heading, slightly bigger font in that subheading, and then bigger text. Because we found that the Arial 10 was a little bit small, and many of the clients are older, and their eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I know mine aren't, and I really appreciate having that bigger font. And it doesn't add any more pages to the financials. So we came up with this font and this kind of style, and we bounced it off a few people, and we had very positive feedback, and so we've gone with this style. But of course, not everyone wants the same thing, and you might just want to customize it for your own style. You might have your own flair. You might say, no, this is too complicated, too much bold, too big a text, whatever. So Excel, again, you've got the full power of Excel at your fingertips. What we've tried to do is use cell styles. So, okay, I'm on cell A1 now, and if I go over to cell styles here, then we can see it's header 1 style that has been applied to that particular cell. If I go to the income statement, okay, and I look at that cell, and I go to cell styles, you'll see it's header 1 style again. So we've tried to use the same style throughout the financials. Now you can change what header 1 style looks like. By right-clicking on it, you can choose Modify, and you'll see it's font Calibri 16 bold. You say, oh, that's too big, I want that to be 14. So you click on Format, then you click on Font, and you can change that to size 14. Click on OK, OK again, and you've changed that style, okay? And that style has now been changed all the way through. You notice here, 14, it's gone to a 14 point. If I go to the balance sheet, it's also 14, because that same style has now been changed. Okay, if I look at this, this has got a different cell style. This is a hyperlinked header. Okay, but you might want to change that, so we'll right click on it, and we choose Modify, Format. Let's put that to 12 point. Okay, okay. Sorry, I took that style off there. There we go. And if we look on the income statement, same thing, that style's now been applied all the way through. Okay, if you look at the body of this, of here, let's see what style we've got applied on this. Okay, that's just normal style. So if you change normal, that will then change that font all the way through. Now you might find some anomalies. For example, the fixed assets note for, the fixed assets note in the notes. Let's go there. And in order to fit this in, we had to make this text a little bit smaller. So the cell style on this one is different. It's notes, body, PPE. But you could change that style there. Okay, that's one way to change things. There's another way too. Let's go to the balance sheet. If you don't like the Calibri font, you could block the entire document and change that font to something else. So you want to go back to Arial. Okay, it looks a bit big now. Then you could click on this little decrease the font size, and it's what you see is what you get. So you can see as you change it. That's a bit small. Let's go a little bit bigger. Right, but you've got this power of Excel at your fingertips to change and customize the style to be exactly the way you want it. Okay, remember, we do all this in the master templates. Okay, not in the normal templates that we supply, but in your masters folder, your AFS, make all those changes in there. And then they'll be applied as you create new clients, drawing from those masters. All right, any questions on the styling part? Okay, don't see any questions on that. Okay, quickly, one other thing then with Excel, and this only applies to the newer versions of Excel. Let me just close this, save it. Right, in AuditMate, a lot of our printing we can print to Excel. And that's so that you can then use Excel to manipulate those figures, do ratios, do any analysis that you like. And one of the little neat things that I've used is to print my trial balance by lead to Excel. Now this might be particularly useful in your audit planning or in a review planning. But to analyze the figures. So we've got a trial balance here that got printed to Excel. Let's just set the headings so that they all stay in the same place. So we'll go here and we go to freeze panes. Okay, now I wanted to just scroll down to the expenses. So here are my expenses, and this is something that's not obvious from looking at it, but at Excel, but if you played around with it a little bit, you find these things. Now under conditional formatting, we've got some options here. I'm just going to block this entire row of figures, column of figures, and go to conditional formatting. And then the one I like is under color scales and this particular item here. Now what it does is it looks at those numbers and it puts a shade of color depending on how big that number is. Okay, so if I click on there, you'll see that my biggest number in that list is in very dark green. The smaller numbers are in lighter green. So at a glance, you can see which are the important numbers to look at. Okay, so you're doing some sort of analytical review. You can immediately see which top items to look at. Another one, I'll do it on this column, is anything that's above average or below average. Okay, so we click on above average here, and it will put in color all the items that are above average. That's pretty useful, particularly if you had a maybe a sales analysis of some sort or an invoice analysis. You could pick out all the bigger items just by using Excel and coloring those cells for you. There's a whole lot of different rules that are applied here, and you can even create your own rules as well. So you can play around with this and see what you think of that. But I thought that was a pretty neat Excel trick for particularly on doing reviews with your analytical reviews and just looking at the bigger numbers. All right. Still got 42 people with us, and I'm going to open it up for just questions and answers. So let's have some questions. If anyone would like to ask a question on their mic, I can unmute you. If you just put your hand up, then you can ask the question. Anybody interested in doing that? Okay, I had a poll here. Now, here's the first question. Let's see if we can launch this poll. See how this works. I haven't tried this before. Okay, but there's a poll up on the screen. You can answer the question that's up there, and we'll see how many people have already created customized templates. Okay, lots of answers coming through. Basically, a quarter of you have, and 3/4 of you haven't. Okay, it's a little higher. 30% have, 70% haven't. All right, and 88% of you have voted. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, the obvious question to ask after that is, well, now as you've watched the webinar, what are you likely to go and customize your own templates now, and which things will you customize? Okay, just about everyone's going to do the logos and letterheads. That's cool. It's really easy, isn't it? See, I asked the question there about your own documents, when I didn't really cover, but obviously in those documents, own documents, I'm thinking of extra things that you might have in your audit file that aren't supplied by us. Cool. Okay, I wonder if I can. All right. Well, thank you for that. And let's see if there's any more questions. Right. Right. When will we get the recording? Well, as soon as the webinar is ended, I will download the recording and I'll then load it up, and probably the link will go out tomorrow to everyone who's attended, and even those that couldn't attend for some reason who did sign up. You'll all get that link, and you'll be able to just download that and watch the recording again. So tomorrow morning. Right. Okay, a whole lot of thank yous coming through. Thank you. It really is, it's quite strange sitting here just looking at my computer screens and talking to them, but yet I know there's 80 people out there who actually are listening, and it's the strangest thing to get used to, but I guess as I keep on practicing, I'll get used to it. So it would be nice if a few of you could get yourself some headsets, and then we can have some dialogue as well. I think that would be great. What I'm thinking of doing is having a questions and answers webinar. Maybe next week. It will be free, and we'll send out an email to everyone, and it will be pure questions and answers. You arrive, ask your questions, and we'll answer. So we'll do that, try and get a bit of interaction going there. All right. Yes, these sessions should qualify for CPD, and I do send out a CPD certificate. At the end of the webinar, GoToWebinar is quite amazing. It gives me a report, and it can tell me even how much attention you paid. So if you were playing around on Excel or watching some YouTube videos while the webinar was on, then you don't get a high score. But we'll still give you the CPD certificate because I'm sure you were still listening. So yeah, you will get those. Okay, Q&A sounds great. Okay, I have a question there that I would like to answer because that is important. Right, let's, okay, Stephanus, he wants to know, how do I change some of the headings in the financial statements? Okay, it's quite important. Okay, if I'm going to go to the financials, and I'm going to go to the example that you asked about, because you're looking at translation. But let's take this property, plant and equipment. All right. So as auditors, we should be able to audit back and see where do these things come from. So that cell comes out as property, plant and equipment. But what's the formula in the cell? The formula is AM leads. Okay, so that tells me it's looking at an AuditMate lead. Okay, and that's E13, which is not visible. Okay, so let's make that visible. Let's get out of hidden mode and get into revealed mode. This takes a little while. All right, so E13 is this cell that says F000. So it's looking at the AM lead for F000. Okay, D means description. If I look on this cell here, we've got C for current year. If I look here, it's P for prior year. Okay, but it's all looking for F000. So it's the description of F000. Let's go back into our AuditMate, and let's go to our lead, okay, which is under accounts. Go to the lead, and we'll look at F000. Okay, so there's the description, property, plant, equipment. If we want to change it, if we go to lead update here, you'll see report description. A property, plant, equipment with a small p and a small e. That's exactly the description that comes out in the Excel document. So this is where you change it. Okay, so if, for example, we didn't have property, if this was just plant and equipment, then we would come in here and just change this. Okay, well, I change it in both places so that it ties up. But it's this one under the report description that's important. So if I click on OK, and I close down this lead. Now, if you attended the last webinar, you'll know we need to also click on this little button in this case, because we need to round that trial balance and create those intermediate files that go between AuditMate and Excel. So I've made that change to the lead name. I'll come back into Excel. It's not changed here yet. I first have to click on Recalc Formulas. I'll do that, and there we go. Now it's plant and equipment. So you audit it backwards. Look at the formula and see now where does that come from. So that's AM leads. If I'm in the detailed income statement and I look at an item here, it's going to say AM account. Okay, and that account number. Same thing. If I go to accounts then I can it's going to, and I go to let's see, what do we do? Change here. Change. Sorry. Now I'm getting confused. So for the detailed income statement, you don't change it here. You change it under reporting. Okay, and that's the report description is going to pick up from this column here. So if we had advertising and promotions, and we wanted to just call it advertising, this is where we would change that one. Okay. Now when I close this window, it rounds the trial balance, so I don't need to go and click on that little button up top. Go back to my Excel, click recalculate, and that's now just going to say advertising. Okay. Okay, Cindy has a question because she's working with very customized annual financial statements, and she says, this CA declaration, is this required? The answer is no, it's not required. There is no legislation that says you have to put this in. SICA, it's their idea that they came up with to market the CA profession and try and raise its level in the eyes of the client. So they've suggested that we put this thing in, but by no means do you have to use it. That's your own personal choice, and that's completely up to you. Okay. How do you go about using the templates from the master file instead of the standard templates? Right. When you create your client, okay, let's just close these down. Okay, when I create a new client, I click on New. I give my client a name. All right. Now the default comes up to choose from the templates folder, but in this case we won't want to. We want to choose from our masters. So we click on this little folder. We go to now, our masters, and we'll choose the template from our masters, whichever one it happens to be. So you're choosing from this masters folder now. Before, we were choosing from this templates folder. Okay, but we don't want to choose from the templates anymore. We want to go from the masters because we've changed those masters and customized them to the way we want them to be. So you choose from there under the masters, click on OK, and you'll see the source says AuditMate 5 Masters 2014 Close Corp. Next, and it's going to copy in from the masters, from the changed ones, the customized ones. Right, hope that answers that question. Okay. Well, it's 4:30. I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us, and it's been a pleasure to show you some new things, hopefully some new things in AuditMate, and I hope to meet with you all again sometime soon.